Hello, friends. Today's movie is going to be one of the most emotional, powerful, and unforgettable stories you will ever watch. Set in the middle of a war-torn country, this film follows the heartbreaking journey of a woman who has spent her entire life suffering in silence. Trapped between war, poverty, fear, and a loveless marriage, she finally reaches a point where she can no longer hide the pain buried deep inside her heart. As the story unfolds, you'll witness shocking truths, emotional confessions, unexpected relationships, and a powerful transformation that changes her forever. This is not just a movie about survival, it's a story about courage, freedom, and finding your own voice after years of silence. If you enjoy movie recaps filled with deep emotions, meaningful messages, psychological drama, and unforgettable moments, then you're going to love this one. So sit back, relax, and let's begin today's incredible movie recap. The story begins in an area of Afghanistan where bullets were often fired in battles. It is in this war-torn environment that we see a 30-year-old woman who has been raped by so many people. Someone gave him money, while someone kept doing his own thing by force. The woman's husband was injured, who was shot in the neck during the war. Since then, he remains lifeless. Despite this woman takes great care of her husband. Throughout the day, she cleans her body with wet clothes. She serves him a lot. Along with this, she also prays to God for her husband. She is constantly talking to her husband. It's as if he's listening and understanding everything. She doesn't even know if her husband listens to her, yet she talks to him constantly. But there was no movement in her husband's body. When he was injured, the doctor said that he would be fine in a week, but now 2 months have passed and there is no change in his condition. Now the woman did not understand what she should do. He also has 2 daughters who have been his life's support. Seeing them, she forgets all her sorrows for a while. One day, the 2 girls tell him they are very hungry. There is no food or drinking water left in the house. Seeing this, the woman becomes even more upset. She goes to the neighborhood with her 2 daughters and asks if the water guy came. Neighbors say they have no idea about it. After that, she starts moving towards the drugstore. But in the meantime, some armed people come and suddenly open fire, as well as exploding. But for the people there, it has become a common everyday thing. Meanwhile, the woman reaches a chemist shop and asks for medicines for her husband. But the shopkeeper flatly refuses. He says he already owes a lot and now he can't lend it to her anymore. Hearing this, the woman gets disappointed and returns home empty-handed. She knows that her husband may not be able to speak. He can't move, but his body needs nourishment. So she prepares salt water and with the help of a pipe slowly puts it in her mouth so that her body remains alive. She still didn't know if her husband was able to understand her words, yet she asks him for permission every time she goes out. She tells him where she is going and why. She stares at his face for a few moments. It's like waiting for an answer. Then she quietly leaves the house. She has only one close relationship left in this city, his aunt who lived nearby. The condition had now become so bad that he felt the need for some support. In this hope, she reaches her aunt's house and knocks on the door. After a while, the door opens. But there was an unknown woman standing in front of him. She asks him about his aunt. The stranger replies that she doesn't know anything and she clearly says that she can't help in any way. Hearing this, the woman breaks down to the core. Now she realizes that she is completely alone. He has no support and no one of his own. She returns home disappointed and tells all these things to her husband. She says maybe her aunt has also left this city. Now he didn't know who to ask for help. The child is suffering from hunger and there is no food and water in the house and the sound of gunshots is echoing everywhere outside. She complains to her husband, "Your mother and brother have also left us. He didn't think it necessary to tell us even once. Maybe they realize that you can't walk anymore," she adds. So he chose his own path to avoid responsibility. It is understood from her words that when her husband was healthy, he was the biggest strength of this house. If there was ever a danger, he was the first to face the danger. Her husband first joined forces with the army, but one day his own accomplices shot him in the neck. He has been in this condition ever since, absolutely helpless and bedridden. Remembering all this, the woman breaks down completely. She prays to her God. Both the girls were still troubled by the indulgence. As the night deepens, It becomes clear that there is no electricity in their house. The innocent girls had no idea what was happening to their families. He didn't even know what had happened to his father. All she thought was that her father was angry with her. That's why I don't talk to them. The next morning, the doctor comes and says he wants to see the patient. The woman stops him and says that he is not in a position to let an outsider in, so he came a little later. The doctor says he'll be back later. But until then, she will have to take care of her husband's wounds and see if the wound is healing. Saying this, he leaves. The woman then comes in and carefully examines her husband's wounds. After looking very closely, the woman realizes that there is no improvement in her husband's wounds. It remains the same as it was before. That's when his attention goes to the sounds coming from outside. Peeking out of the window, she sees that an announcement is being made outside. In that announcement, it was being told that weapons are being distributed for their protection in all the houses of everyone. Upon hearing this, the woman understands that the situation is about to worsen, and perhaps it is a possibility of a major attack. She immediately takes her daughters along to a nearby basement where people from the vicinity started gathering. Suddenly, loud attacks begin to sound from outside. Bombs begin to explode all around. The rumble of tanks and the sounds of missiles begin to resonate. The people sitting inside shrink in fear. No one understood what was happening outside. After some time, the sounds gradually subside. The woman dares to come out so that she can see her husband's condition. Seeing him, the rest of the people also start coming out. The woman approaches her husband. Dust and debris were strewn all around. She slowly begins to cleanse his body. She sees that the mud has gone into her eyes too. She carefully pours the medicine into his eyes. That's when his gaze falls out. A tank was still roaming in the area. He understands that the danger is not over yet. She is just trying to compose herself when another attack begins. The windows are shattered with the bang, and glass and stones are shattered all around the room. At that moment, she thinks of her daughters whom she left at the scheduled dinner. She immediately rushes to the spot and hugs them tightly. Her husband is still there. Then some armed men enter the house. But when they realize that he can't even move, they take out his watch and ring. They then search the entire house. But they don't get anything special. They throw those things away, thinking they are useless. They think this man is no longer alive, yet they are going to shoot him. Then his eyes fall on the uniform kept there. They understand that he must have been involved in a fight at some point. Seeing this, he goes there without doing anything. After some time, when everything stops, the woman comes there, and seeing the condition of the house, she understands that someone has searched the whole house. She is relieved to see her husband alive. But then he gets the news that the neighbors have been brutally killed. Hearing this, she is very scared. She understands that it is not safe to keep her daughters in this environment, so she now takes them and leaves. She goes to the door of his house again, where his aunt once lived. Then the woman opens the door. She refuses to help this time too. Frustrated, she stands outside with her daughters. After some time, the woman takes pity on them and opens the door and gives a slip on which the address of a place is written. It is said that he can get help there. Without delay, she arrives there. She finally meets her aunt. Then he finds out that his aunt is also living a very difficult life because now she has become a prostitute. The woman tells her aunt her condition and says that she cannot keep her daughters there. She requests him to keep the children with him for some time. Auntie agrees to this and says that she will take care of the children. She then asks Auntie how her life got to this point and why she started this work. Then the aunt begins to tell her story. He was married at a very young age, but for many years they did not have any children. When her father-in-law came to know about this, he raped her several times. All this went on for several years. He was treated very cruelly. Finally, one day she couldn't bear it all and mustered up the courage to kill all the people who had wronged it. After this, he decided to run away from there and start a new life. Now she says she's living on her own. No one forces him anymore. After finishing her talks, Auntie gives the woman some money so that she can meet her needs. The woman then returns to her husband because she knows that it is still her responsibility to take care of her husband. Now she slowly begins to open up to her husband all the things in her mind. She says, "We have been married for so many years, but you have never praised me. Never told me that I mattered to you. Whenever I needed you, you weren't with me. I always felt like I was afraid of you. I don't feel safe with you. She says that there was more fear and distance in their relationship than love. She adds, I could understand your indifference, but you never thought about our daughters either. The pain of years was clearly visible in his voice. She then says, you were always so engrossed in your work that you didn't even have time to look at your house. You weren't even present on our wedding day. I was married to your picture. She says she didn't get a chance to understand and get to know her husband. You used to come and just assert your authority without saying anything and have an arbitrary relationship with me. I kept quiet. I endured everything because I was afraid that if I didn't have children on time, I would be blamed and thrown out of the house. She says that she endured all this out of compulsion and not of her own will. Then she goes back to her past. A girl first learns what a man is like by looking at her father. But my father, she stays here for a moment. Then says softly, they were completely different. He had a stern temperament. There was often an atmosphere of anger and fear in the house. She recalls that this is what she saw as a child. After returning home, his anger often came out on us. I've always learned that men are tough. They move on their own will and do not consider it necessary to understand the feelings of others. Her words were not just a complaint, but a burden of her entire life experiences that were now coming out in words. She recalls the most painful truths of her past, saying that her father's gambling addiction never ended. One day, he put everything on the line. But still, his mind was not satisfied. He thought that he would win next time, and in this greed, he put his own eldest daughter at the stake. When he lost the bet, an old man came home and took his innocent daughter with him. Seeing this, she was frightened to the core. He thought that the next turn might be his. She says that her troubles never ended, neither before marriage nor after marriage. After saying all this, she leaves in anger and pain and reaches out to her aunt and tells everything. She says that she talks to her husband throughout the day. She puts every truth of her life in front of them. He doesn't even know if he's able to hear or not. Hearing this, Auntie tells him a story of patience. She says that there is a stone in front of which people say everything in their hearts. He keeps speaking all his pain and all his secrets until every burden inside him is lightened, and when everything comes out, the stone automatically breaks and scatters and takes all those secrets and pain with him. People believe that when a person becomes completely helpless, he also becomes a kind of collective, a silent stone in front of which a person can say everything in his heart. Hearing this, the woman understands that her husband is now like the same stone with which she can say everything without fear. The next day she goes to him. She cleans him, bathes him, and kisses his lips for the first time in many years. Then slowly she begins to open her heart. I still remember the first night you came close to me, she says. I wasn't ready, but you didn't try to understand my condition. The pain and suffocation are clearly felt in his voice. She says you never talked about love to me, just did everything as you deserved. I was already told that I had to give birth, and I did what was expected of me. She was letting out every feeling that was buried inside her. That's when some bustling sounds come from outside. She peeked out the window and saw neighbors burying a body. Meanwhile, the doctor comes there again. But this time, too, she refuses to let him in because she doesn't have money. The doctor leaves. After that, she comes back inside the house. Then he comes to know that many soldiers have arrived in the area. She is afraid that if they find out about her husband, they will kill her. Out of this fear, she hides her husband and puts many things on him so that no one can see him. After a while, two people come into the house, a commander and one of his soldiers. They start searching the whole house. Seeing them, fear settles in the woman's mind. He thinks that maybe now they will force him with them. To save herself, she immediately says that she is a prostitute. Hearing this, the commander was very angry and insulted her a lot, calling her a nefarious woman. That's when we see it. The woman had a knife hidden in her hand. She was willing to defend herself if someone wronged her. After both of them leave, she sleeps there, exhausted. Half asleep at night, she tells her husband that she still has many more things that she will tell tomorrow morning. In the morning, the hustle and bustle outside starts again. She immediately hides her husband and goes to open the door. Then this time, the same young soldier who was with the first commander came back. The uneasiness is clearly visible in his behavior. He throws money in front of the woman and tries to get close with her. The woman tries to stop him, but the soldier does not listen to him and forces himself with him. The soldier was very young. It seemed like he was getting close to a woman for the first time, and he was getting intimate with someone for the first time. So he had no idea what to do with a woman. Here, the woman herself could not understand what happened to her because she had not faced such an experience before. The young man was full of enthusiasm, but he was doing it all for the first time, so he couldn't do anything because of lack of experience. The young man leaves after a while. Then the woman breaks down and starts crying. She then takes care of herself and cleanses her body. But then his eyes go to the money lying there. He realizes that he desperately needs this money. She goes out with the money and buys food and medicines and comes back so that she can take care of her husband. Time moves slowly. A few days later, the same young man returns. This time, the woman understood his condition and knew that she needed this money for her family. She then makes her own decision and makes a compromise between compulsion and is intimate with him once again of her own free will. She then sits down with her husband and shares all these things with him. She tells how she is fighting the condition. She also talks about the young man, sometimes in a lighter way, and sometimes to lighten the burden of his mind. He even laughs while talking about the young boy because he is not able to do much in bed. She says that at first she used to get very angry with him, but now she sees him as a person who is trying to understand something in his own way. She slowly speaks her mind. At first, I thought you were everything to me, but now I understand who has done the most injustice to me. I don't think that guy forced himself on me, but you did. Now she begins to realize what she used to consider the right of the relationship. In fact, that was the root of his pain. One day, when she returns home from outside, she finds broken windows and the door has been fixed by someone. She understands that this is the job of the same boy. After some time, he comes to meet her again. This time, his behavior was quite different from before. He says he just wants to sit with her for a while. The two sit quietly. The young man then removes his shirt and shows the wound on his body. There were many scars on his body that were old and deep. He tells her that he is an orphan. She has lived a very difficult life since childhood. He says he never found a sense of belonging. That's why he has always lived his life in fear and compulsion. Saying this, his voice starts trembling and tears start flowing from his eyes. He breaks down in front of someone for the first time, and in search of support, he gets close to the woman. The woman also gets emotional and tears come to her eyes. He realizes that there are many people in this world who are broken in their own way. The next day, when she returns home, she sees some fruits on the door and a gold chain with it. She immediately understands that it was kept by the same guy. She takes those things inside and starts looking at Chan carefully. A slight smile appears on his face. Perhaps for the first time, someone has given him something without any selfishness. He feels that someone is understanding him and caring about him. She sits in front of her husband and tells him all this, and gradually she realizes that she has started to develop feelings for the young man. But at the same moment, it seems to her that it is all wrong, and she begins to apologize to her God. Time passes. One day, she says to her husband, "I want to tell the last truth of my life today." She gathers up the courage to tell her the biggest thing: I was pregnant. I tried to eliminate that child several times because I had found out the truth. She says that the problem of becoming a mother was not in her. In fact, you had the problem of becoming a father. But this was never accepted. If the truth had come out, I would have been thrown out of the house. So I chose the path that I could become a mother. His voice is trembling. But that's all she says. I myself don't know who their father is. Upon hearing this, for the first time, there is a movement in her husband's body. His eyes open and he suddenly turns violent. He angrily grabs her by the throat, as if you want to eliminate it. To save her life, the woman panics and picks up the object lying nearby. She kills her own husband. Everything calms down for a moment. Then gradually he realizes that the person to whom he revealed all the secrets of his life was patient with him. A silent stone that encapsulated all her pain and all the secrets as soon as she told her last truth. That stone broke. The pain suppressed for years is all over in an instant. At the same time, the young man comes here and sees it all. He understands that this is no longer the same woman who endured injustice silently. Now she has recognized her strength. Now if anyone does wrong to her, she will not remain silent. The message of this film is that the suppressed pain and the truth wants to come out someday. This film shows that it is very important to listen to a woman's voice and her experience. There is also a limit to silence and tolerance. After that, the revolt is born. Real liberation comes when a person is able to express his fears and anguish openly. This film ends here. For similar movies, you can follow us on Telegram and Instagram, the link to which is given in the description. If you like the movie, then make sure to like it, and for such videos, you must subscribe to our channel.